create a text message, show you how that works. You can see I have some trouble trying to use a finger consistently because the on-screen controls can be really small thanks to this 800 by 480 resolution. In order to access numbers on the keypad, you have to hold down this blue function key and then use the little virtual keypad here. Send it to that same fake number. Then you just start typing. You can't see it because of the lighting with the camera, but I'm finding it a bit difficult to read the backlighting now. The contrast is actually much higher on the video that you're seeing than what I'm seeing from the keypad due to that white backlight. That's one of the major problems with the device, if you ask me. But anyway, you can see the message goes in easily. Predictive text was on. I generally tend to turn that off because it sometimes gets a little messy. Send a message, and off we go. You can see it's threaded SMS. That's a function of Windows Mobile 6.1. So if we were to send another message to that person, you'll see it shows up in the same window. That little notification that came up a second ago was telling me it was sent. Another one we're going to see in a second will tell me that it's actually a bad number that I'm sending it to. And that would be this. Just going to dismiss it here. I'm going to show you the messaging app. You can see I've got some new email here. So if we go into the Outlook email, this is synchronized with the Microsoft Exchange server. You can see that you can scroll with a finger. It's very much HTC's code, the way you can see how it works. You can flip it. If you use a stylus or a fingernail, it selects instead of scrolling. There's good HTML support inside the messages. You can see, well, this message has a table in it. We'll download the rest of it so you can see it. It's a HSDPA, HSUPA connection, so with high-speed downloads and uploads where supported. We're on AT&T's network right now. So you can see the nice looking HTML table. Flip the keyboard open so you can see it in landscape mode. Everything's very clear. Get a good look at the display here. The clear type option is actually turned off because it just really doesn't seem to be necessary with such a fine dot pitch like on this display. This display makes all text look very crisp, so clear type's not even needed. There's support for swipes in the messages, just like you see on the HTC devices. Works inside of messages and also works for going between accounts. Thanks to the optical joystick function, you can easily scroll too. It's actually intelligent enough to select the message on the screen instead of just scrolling without selecting too. Works pretty well. Fairly easy to control. There are settings for changing the sensitivity and disabling it altogether. And we have it enabled, and we have the sensitivity fairly low. Seems to make it pretty easy to control that way. The optical joystick also works inside of the Opera browser, and as you can see, Opera does a pretty fine job of rendering the site. This is the Mobile Burn website. There are some issues up here in terms of the header and the way the menus are. It's not an exact reproduction of what the site should look like, but it works pretty well. In this case, inside the browser, the optical joystick works in terms of a page function, so it's very easy to move quickly without, massive amounts of scrolling. Of course, you can also just grab the display, which I think for most purposes is easier. Double tapping for zooming. Pull up the home page so you can get a look at that. It's going to take a little while, even on an HSDPA connection. Blue line across the bottom shows how far it is in loading. It has to work its way all the way across. If you've used Opera on Samsung Omnia or HTC Touch Diamond or Touch Pro, you know exactly what you're dealing with here. Except in this case, you have the full 800 by 480 resolution, which means, for mobile burn site at least, you get the full width of the site, no zooming or anything funny going on. It's not quite done loading, but we can start moving through it. So you can quickly move with the optical joystick, or more easily just grab the screen. Double taps for zooming around. Very readable. Pretty quick. This little tab here brings up the menu. We'll pull up one of the other web pages. Yahoo Finance is a decent looking page on this device. Move in a little closer, you can see that even though the text is very small, and I mean very small, it's quite readable. Double tap for zooming. Makes it pretty easy to navigate. Show you how dialing works on the X1. We'll just hit the call send button here, brings up the keypad. Let's just start dial number. A made up number at that. You can either hit the send button or the down here or the green on screen button like I just did. Turn on the speakerphone.
No es posible realizar la llamada tal y como se marcó el número.
Big button there on screen for hanging up.